Welcome to class, guys. So as you can see, we are starting a new packet today. So make sure that your name is on it. Name, date. Today is Wednesday, the 29th, so 1/29/25, and the class period that you're in, just put that there. So your to-do list for today is to complete page 1 through 3 in this note packet. I'm going to go through those pages with you. There is no Schoology homework on this, but there is practice on ALEKS. So after you're done with this, just go on to ALEKS and find the questions that are similar to these and practice this on ALEKS. So we're just going to jump right into it. So this lesson is actually a pre-lesson to chapter 9. In chapter 9, you will have to simplify radicals like this as part of some of the problems. So I wanted to go over how to do this skill so that way when we get to it, you'll know how to do it. So starting with the first vocabulary word, radical, refers to this symbol right here, means the positive square root of a number. The parts of a radical expression here, this number out here is the coefficient, and just write that down on your paper. And then the number inside the radical is a radicand. Okay, so a radical expression is an expression that contains a radical sign. So we might have something like this, square root of 3 over 2, or maybe 5 times square root of 3 over 2, like this. This would be a radical expression. It's an expression with a radical in it. You're probably most familiar with perfect squares. So this symbol right here is referring to what two numbers can multiply to 49. So we know that 7 times 7 is 49, so the square root of 49 would be 7. Or the square root of 100, well, we know 10 times 10 is 100, so the square root of 100 is 10. There's also a button in the calculator for this, so we could do 100, I'm typing in 100 here, 100, and then the square root button will give you the square root of that number 10. So square root of 9, square root is 3, and that's because 3 times 3 equals 9. I'm also going to show you another format to do this because it won't always come out to a perfect number, and we're going to learn how to simplify them. So another way to solve this, square root of 9 right here, break it up into factors. So the two numbers that multiply to 9 are 3 and 3. And if we have two matching factors, we take that out of the square root, and our answer is 3. And again, square root of 16, break it up into factors. And when you have two matching factors like 4 and 4, we can take that out of the square root, and the answer is 4. The reason why we're learning it in this way, which you may have learned it a different way, but when you get into Algebra 2, we'll have like cubed roots and fourth roots. And so with a cubed root, you're looking for 3 of the same factor, or a fourth root, you're looking for 4 of the same factor. So we're building skills so that way when these problems get harder, you'll have the skills that you need. Okay, so we are going to be simplifying expressions. They won't always come out to a whole number like this. So when we simplify, we don't want any perfect squares to be in here. We don't want to have a radicand or radical as a denominator, and we don't want to have a radicand that's a fraction. So we're using that as a guide, and we'll just get into it. So for this one, we have square root of 20. As you may be aware, 20 is not a square root. It comes out to a weird number like this. But we're going to simplify it. And the way we're going to simplify it is break it up into factors. 20, I would say 4 times 5 is 20. Break up the 4, 2, and 2. And now I'm looking for two numbers that are the same that I can take out. So I can take out a 2, and it leaves me 2. And then this leftover just stays inside the radical. And this is my simplified version of square root of 20. Okay, I'm going to work with you one by one through each of these, and it'll take us through slightly different situations. So here, maybe 6 and 9, 2 and 3 broken up, and 9 would be 3 and 3. So I'm looking for two of the same number, so I have two 3s. I can take that out of the radical, and then anything left over just stays in. So 2 times 3 would be 6, and so this is my simplified version. Okay, for the next one, breaking it up into factors. It doesn't matter which factors you choose. Just go write whatever comes to mind. 16 times 10 is what comes to mind. I have 4 and 4, 5 and 2. I could simplify this further, but once I have a pair, I can just take that out. 4, and then 5 times 2 is 10. And this is my simplified version. Okay, the next one, we have 6 square root of 8. So I'm going to simplify this. 8 would be 4 and 2. Breaking this up, 2 and 2. So I have 2 2's that I can take out. So what I'll do is I'll take this 6, multiply it by the 2 I'm taking out, and then we have 1 left over 2 that's just going to stay inside the radical. So 6 times 2 would be 12. 12 square root of 2. And that is all. Okay, so the next section, we're just going to build skills, but this will always be kind of the baseline skill. So for this one, it's saying this multiplied by this. We can multiply this before we start simplifying. So 8 times 2 would be square root of 16. And then I can break this up, 2 factors, 4 and 4, and then just take that out of the radical, and there's no leftovers to worry about. Okay, the next one, I'm going to multiply 2 to 3, so multiplying the coefficients, 2 times 3 would be 6, and then multiplying these radicands, 2 times 14 is 28, so I get 6 square root of 28. I'm pretty sure that this will simplify even further, so I'm going to try it out. Take 2 factors, 4 and 7, 2 and 2. Sure enough, I have a pair here I can take out. So I'm going to take this coefficient 6 times the 2 I'm taking out, and then leave 7 on the inside. So I get 12 square root of 7. And that's as simple as we can go. Okay, the next one, repeating the same process, multiply the 2 coefficients here to get 21. Multiply these, 5 times 50 is 250. Okay, definitely want to simplify this, maybe 25 and 10, and just keep simplifying. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 and 2 here. Okay, I have a pair of 5's I can take out. So we have the coefficient 21 times 5, and then 5 and 2 will just stay in. 5 times 2 is 10. And then we get 105 square root of 10, and that's our simplified version. Okay, the next set we're going to look at fractions in a radical. Okay, so it says we can't leave it in this format for it to be in simplest form. So here's some ways that we can manipulate and change and simplify this. So when you have a fraction in here, you can actually split it up as fraction a over b, so square root of a over square root of b, and then simplify these individually. Okay, so some examples right here. We have the fraction inside the radical, so we have square root of 36 over square root of 49. It just so happens that both of these are perfect squares. The square root of 36 is 6, and the square root of 49 is 7. So that made that one easy. Okay, and then for b, we have square root of 20 over square root of 9. So 9 is a perfect square. Breaking that up into 2 factors, we can just take the 3 out. So we have square root of 20 over 3. But this can also be simplified. So off to the side, I'm just going to simplify square root of 20. 4 and 5 here, split this up, 2 and 2, I got a pair, so we got 2 square root of 5. So we'll replace this here, 2 square root of 5 over 3, and that is our simplified version. Okay, and moving on here, so sometimes what happens is you have a radical as a denominator. So here, if we take square root of 1 over square root of 3. Perfect square of this would just be 1, but we're left with square root of 3 as a denominator. This can't happen in simplest form. We need to get rid of this radical in the denominator. So what we do is we do what's called rationalizing the denominator. We take 1 over square root of 3, and we multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3. So square root of 3 divided by square root of 3 is just 1. So we're multiplying this by 1. But what happens is 1 times square root of 3 would be square root of 3. And then square root of 3 times itself would just be 3. So square root of 3 times square root of 3 is just the whole number 3. And then this here is the simplified version. And we got rid of the radical as the denominator. Okay, so let's try that again with this one. We can't have the square root of 7 as a denominator, so we're multiplying by square root of 7 over square root of 7. This would be square root of 3 times square root of 7 would be square root of 21. And square root of 7 times itself is just 7. Okay, the next one, same thing, we're going to get rid of the square root of 8. So multiply by square root of 8, square root of 8. This would become square root of 56 over 8. And we can simplify the square root of 56. So off to the side, I'm going to simplify this. Just figure out which factors are there. 8 and 7, 4, 2, 2, and 2. So I got 2 2's I can take out. So this would simplify to 2, and then 2 and 7. 2 times 7 would be 14. So this simplifies to 2 square root of 14, and then just put that over 8. It looks like it could simplify it further though. The 2 and the 8 can both be simplified. Divide this by 2 to get 1, divide this by 2 to get 4. And our final answer is square root of 14 over 4. Okay, so in this bottom section, we're going to put all these skills together. So yeah, let's go for it. So here we have, I don't know where to start it, maybe up here, square root of 12 over square root of 3. I need to get rid of this denominator here, so square root of 3 over square root of 3. And 12 times 3 would be square root of 36 over 3. Square root of 36, that's a perfect square, so I get 6 over 3, and that equals 2. Okay, the next one. There are different ways I can go about this. I can multiply by square root of 12 over square root of 12, or I can simplify it first and see where it goes. And just to show you different ways, I'll simplify it first. So we're going to simplify square root of 27 first. 9, 3, 3, 3. So I can take out a 3, and I get 3 square root of 3. And then over here for square root of 12, I'll simplify that. 4, 3, 2, 2, take out a 2, I get 2 square root of 3. Okay, and then square root of 3 divided by square root of 3, that will just cancel. And so my final answer is just 3/2. Okay, the next one here, we need to get rid of the 2 as a denominator. So square root of 2 over square root of 2. Let's see, 7 square root of 20 over 2. To simplify square root of 20, I'll kind of running out of space over here. Maybe I'll do it down here. Okay. Square root of 20, 4 and 5, 2 and 2. So I get 2 square root of 5. So here, 7 times 2 square root of 5 over 2. And then the 2's cancel, and I'm just left with 7 square root of 5. Okay, and the next set right here, okay, so for this one, there's different ways to go about it. Again, I could simplify first or just get rid of that radical denominator. So multiply by square root of 10 over square root of 10, I get square root of 150 over 3 times 10, which will be 30. I'm going to simplify the 150 down here. Square root of 150, 15 and 10, 3 and 5, 5 and 2. Okay, I can have 2 5's I can take out and have a 3 and a 2 left over. So I will have 5, 3 times 2 is 6, 5 square root of 6 over 30. I can simplify the 5 and the 30, divide by 5 to get 1, divide by 5 to get 6, and I'm left with square root of 6 over 6. Okay, the next one here, let's see, multiply by square root of 6 over square root of 6, 3 square root of 12 over 6. I can simplify this, the 3 and the 6 can both be divided by 3, I get 1 and 2. So I have square root of 12 over 2, but I think I can simplify the square root of 12, so I'll do that down here. 4, 3, 2, and 2, and I get 2 square root of 3. 2 square root of 3 over 2. Simplify, like those cancel out, and we're just left with square root of 3 as the simplified version. And then the next one, multiply by square root of 2 over square root of 2. I get 10 square root of 10 over 2 times, this times itself would be 2. 2 times 2. And let's see, so from here, I'll have 10 square root of 10 over 4. And divide this by 2 to get 2, divide this by 2 to get 5. I get 5 square root of 10 over 2. Okay, so on to the next page. It gets easier again. So next page. Okay, so this here is like practice. At one point it was homework, but I'm going to do it with you here. So we're going to finish this page and then you'll be able to practice it on Alex. Okay, so here for number 1, it says simplify each expression, show your work. And again, it starts out easy again, which is nice. So to simplify this, I'm going to start by breaking it up into factors, 9 and 3. Simplify it as much as I can. 3 times 3 is 9. Any doubles, I take it out. And then anything left over, I keep it inside the radical. And we're done there. So 72, 8 and 9. I got 2 2s and 2 3s. So I'm going to take a 2 out, I'm going to take a 3 out, and I'm left over with 1 2 inside the radical. So I got 6 square root of 2. Okay, and the next one, number 3. Okay, the 800, just break it up into 2 factors. It doesn't matter which ones come to mind, maybe 80 and 10. I get 8, 10. Okay, with these 2 factors, I could break it up further, but once I have 2, or, you know, I'll just break it up to show you. So we got 4 and 2, 2 and 2. So we got double 2s here, 5, 2, and 2 and 5. We got 2 2s and 2 5s here. So we got a bunch of doubles. So I got a 2, I got a 5, and a 2 I can take out, and left over in there is just a 2. Plus we have this original number right here, a 5, that we need to multiply on the outside. So 5 times 2 would be 10 times 5 times 2. So we get 50 times 2, we get 100 square root of 2. And then remember this 5 came from here. Okay, then over here, we can't have this radical as a denominator, so we're going to multiply by square root of 5 over square root of 5. So we get 3 square root of 5 over 5. And there's nothing else we can do to simplify that, so that is the answer. Okay, number 5, we have square root of 1 over square root of 6. This would just be 1 square root of 6, but we can't leave that as a denominator. So we multiply like this, and we get square root of 6 over 6, and you can't do anything more, that is all. Okay, number 6 here. Different ways we can do this. I'm going to simplify this first because I don't want to multiply by 48. So just simplifying this, let's see, be 6 and 8, 3, 2, 4, 2, 2, 2. Okay, so I have a set of 2's here, another set of 2's, and a 3 left over. So we have 2 square root of 3 as the numerator, and then the denominator will have 2 times square root of 3. Okay, so the square root of 3's will actually cancel out, or a set of 2's will cancel out, and we're just left with 1/2. So we went from something very complicated to something much easier to work with here. Okay, and then number 7. I'm going to simplify them first. So I'm going to simplify square root of 12 over here, and then I'll simplify square root of 18 separately. So we got 4 and 3, 2 and 2. Take this out, 2 square root of 3 as a numerator, and then square root of 18. We'll do that off to the side. Got 2, 9, 3, and 3. Take a 3 out. 3 square root of 2, like that. Okay, we can't leave this square root of 2 as a denominator, so I will multiply by square root of 2 over square root of 2. So I get 2 square root of 6 over 3 times 2. Cancel out the 2's, and we get square root of 6 over 3 as our simplified version. Okay, and then for number 8, let's see, how do I want to do this? I'll simplify the square root of 8 first. 2 out. So we get 5 square root of 2 over 3 times this 2, and then square root of 2 left over. Okay, so we get the square root of 2's will cancel out, and then we got 5 over 6. Okay, for number 9, let's see, simplify the 12, 4, and 3, 2 and 2. So we got 2 square root of 3 over 5 times the 2 that we're taking out, and left over 3. These cancel. 2 over 10, which simplifies to 1/5. So to simplify this, just divide by common factor, and that's how we got 1/5. Okay, last one. Let's see where to begin. You know what, I'm going to simplify the top portion here. So 2 times 3 is 6, and then square root of 2 times square root of 2. Oh, square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just going to be 2. And then over 4 square root of 6. Okay, so I got 12 over 4 square root of 6. I can't have the square root of 6 as a denominator, so I'll multiply like this. 12 square root of 6 over 4 times 6. So I got 12 square root of 6 over 24. And then divide by 12 to get 1, divide by 12 to get 2, and square root of 6 over 2 is my final answer. Okay, good job with all of this. Now what you're going to do is go on to ALEKS, practice this on ALEKS. There are some easier ones and some that are a little bit harder, but your assignments this week, there's at least 5 of them that have to do with this. So go on to ALEKS and practice this, and also get points for your weekly ALEKS. And I will be back tomorrow, and good job. You guys are amazing.